Welcome back to Rating Skyrim City Planning. Today we are in Skyrim's capital city, Solitude, located in the northwestern area of Skyrim. Let's just get straight into the rating. Alrighty, welcome back guys to Rating Skyrim City Planning. It's been a little while, but you know, Solitude's a big city, so let's give it a little time. But the rating requirements are going to be on the screen right now for any of you who are first-time viewers of the series, and if you are, make sure to check out the other rating videos. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, our first point on the list is going to be if the city is properly districted or not. Now, when we enter Solitude, it seems that this little front area is basically the main shopping center. I mean, we have all the taverns, the tailor, the marketplace. I mean, most of the shopping is done here, and there really isn't many homes in sight. It's not until we get into this area over here that we find basically almost exclusively residential type buildings. So I think Solitude is gonna get this point here. I mean, it quite literally is probably one of the best district cities. I mean, this little separation gate kind of separates the entirety of the city into two distinct districts. There may be like one building over here that like has some sort of shop characteristics, but it's pretty distinct just how separate the city is. Alrighty, the next point on our list is going to be if the city has proper / well-built walkways. Now looking around Solitude, this one's pretty obvious. I mean, most if not everything is pretty well made. You can see there's a few sort of like offshoots here that aren't, but this honestly kind of serves as a little like garden or like park kind of feel. But the main pathways are quite nice. There is a little bit of overgrowth going on, but the majority of the pathing is pretty good. There's not really anything that's just like sticking out as terrible. And again, this could also be from one of my mods, so I'm not gonna knock them for that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Solitude's gonna get this point, so let's move on. Alrighty, coming up next for 2 points, the city has no ruined or destroyed buildings. Now, I don't think Solitude has any sort of foreclosed buildings in it. I'm not 100% sure though. I'm kind of like 99% sure though. I don't remember seeing anything that was just blatantly destroyed or could be considered ruins in the city. I mean, yeah, I don't think Solitude is gonna not get this point. Almost everything is well maintained and has some sort of purpose when it comes to buildings. So we're gonna go ahead and give Solitude this point here. Big 2-pointer. Righty, next up on the list for 1 point. The city is somewhat sanitary / safe. Now, Solitude is quite sanitary, I'd say. I mean, most of the cities are, except for maybe Riften, but that's arguable. There really isn't any trash or just loose items just sort of flying around. I mean, there's some little things here and there, but I think most of it kind of makes sense in the context of what the area that it's in. In terms of safety, I think Solitude is probably one of the safest cities in Skyrim, given the fact they have a massive military base up here. Which, for the purpose of this rating, I'm actually going to be leaving the military section out of the rating, purely because it's kind of like its own thing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Solitude's going to pretty easily get this point here. So let's move on. Alrighty, getting up with another 2-pointer. The city has basic amenities. Now this basically means the city has access to a well or some sort of water source that, you know, can be used. And I do remember seeing a well, so let me go over to that. Alright, so here's the well. I think this may be the only well in the city. So the well coverage isn't going to be that great, but regardless, they still have one. So yeah, Solitude's going to go ahead and get this point here. It's a big one, big 2-pointer. Can potentially make or break city's ratings. So let's move on. Alrighty, next up, a classic for 1 point. The city has room to grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and get somewhere in the middle of the city because this place is huge, and yeah, I'll just get straight up into free cam. Alrighty, up here in free cam, we can just kind of see how huge the city is. Now quick note, this entire building here, this is a mod. I forgot to disable it, and I don't really think it matters that much. It only adds like one building, and it's kind of tucked away in the corner. But anyways, so for room to grow, I actually don't think Solitude's going to get this point. Solitude is literally situated on a huge cliffside. They can't really grow out that way. There's pretty big walls surrounding all of the city. It's kind of hard to say that it can expand from here. Maybe down to there, but again, that would be significantly difficult, and it'd be kind of outside of the city. It's hard to say. I personally don't think there's any like easy ways to grow the city, but without knocking down walls or just doing massive, really difficult projects that we're likely not going to see happen. So for that reason, I'm not going to be able to give Solitude this point here. Alrighty, for our final point on the list, for 2 points, the city isn't a pain in the ass to navigate. Now, I personally don't think Solitude's that difficult to navigate, though it is very big. It isn't inherently easy to navigate, but the reason that I think it's going to get the point is that most, if not everything, you really need from the city is at the front. So everything being at the front of the city, again, this is how most cities in Skyrim are actually planned out. I think it might have been game design or something too, I don't know. But regardless, it makes it easy to navigate. If you want to go deeper into the city, it may get a little more difficult. Not by much though, but I will admit it, if you're trying to look for like somebody's house that you may have never been to, you're going to have to just go through a lot of difficulties to find it just because of the sheer amounts of buildings. But regardless though, I think that with just like a little bit of, walking around the city like once, you'll kind of figure everything out. So for that reasons, I'm going to give Solitude this point. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. This is the final installment of my Skyrim city planning series. And after this, I'm probably going to do something that's with these smaller sort of towns and settlements around Skyrim, but I'm still sort of figuring out how to structure that. If you have any ideas or really anything, feel free to comment them. But yeah, let's just get into the final rating.